Hey guys, Godfather of Anxiety here again. Just wanted to do a really short video about the physical effects that anxiety, prolonged anxiety, can have on your health. I don't like to focus too much on this because I know that a lot of you are already in an anxious state, and the last thing you want to hear is, well, this anxious state is going to cause some of these things that you're so worried about to actually happen. So I've kind of been a little bit hesitant to make videos like this, but I think it's important to cover, why it's so important. This will help people to see why it's so important to get treated and to not just let yourself stay perpetually in fight or flight. So this is going to basically be a fairly quick list. I'm not going to cover everything because it literally affects every mechanism, every physical mechanism in the body, even at the cellular level. So, but I am going to give you some things that prolonged stress and staying in fight or flight can cause as far as health issues go. The first one I'm going to mention is cardiovascular. Guys, being in a prolonged stressful state with elevated levels of cortisol and adrenaline is not good for your cardiovascular system. It's not good for your blood pressure. In the long term, it's not good for your heart. It increases the risk of stroke and heart attack. So again, this is another reason why, if currently you are not able to, because one of the things that I noticed before I started having panic attacks, guys, that I kind of just powered through and ignored, and that was that I just felt like I couldn't relax. You know when you get home from being out and you kick off your shoes and you sit in your recliner, that exhale, I couldn't get that. I wasn't getting that when I first woke up in the morning. I wasn't getting that. I wasn't getting that when I got home from work. I wasn't getting that. I just wasn't getting that. And that's a little clue that you're in an elevated, a state of elevated stress, and that you might need to seek treatment. If you're not to the point of seeking treatment, you're at least to the point of modifying your lifestyle. So the first one that I mentioned that's going to be affected physically is the cardiovascular. Next thing, metabolically, guys, stress can make you either gain weight like crazy, like it did for me, which was a wonderful experience, or you can lose weight. Stress messes with your metabolism. And again, that's because of the cortisol. So it definitely can have, if you are an emotional eater, you're going to probably put on a ton of weight if you're in a state of fight or flight for an extended period of time. Some people, it's just the opposite. When they're in fight or flight, they feel like they can't eat. But anyway, so it messes with your metabolism. The next thing I'll mention is your digestive system. Guys, stress messes with your digestive system. You're more likely to get an ulcer. You're more likely to have acid reflux. You're more likely to have irritable bowel syndrome. These things are all way more likely if your body is stuck in fight or flight. As far as your skeletal system and your muscles, guys, muscle tension is constant if you're in a state of fight or flight. I like to think that my anxiety is in a okay place right now. And, obviously I talked to you guys about, that I've been treated, and, I don't have the problems like with panic attacks and stuff that I've had in the past. But when I went for physical therapy on my shoulder, at the end of the physical therapy, she would massage the area, the shoulder and the back where my rotator cuff is torn. And she would say, loosen up. She says, you're tense, loosen up. And guys, that is the tendency for us who are in an elevated state of stress where our muscles are tense. So you can have joint and muscle pain as a result of being stuck in fight or flight. This is a actual fact. I have had my traps, my trapezius muscles just ache, and I know it was because I was tense. And I'm talking about ache like I worked them out, like I was doing shrugs with, 150-pound dumbbells, guys. Ache like that. I've told you guys also in my videos about the inner thigh and pelvic floor pain that I've had as a result of muscle tension from stress. And you don't even put it together, you're like, wait, because again, if we're stuck in fight or flight, we're not consciously thinking, oh, I'm in fight or flight. That's not how it works. But our bodies know it, and our bodies are responding to the chemicals that are being dumped by our bodies. And there's a response. You're supposed to be fighting off bears. You're supposed to be, escaping from something, fighting something, but there's nothing there to fight. You're not running away from anything. So your body being stuck in this condition, your muscles are going to be tense. And this is going to predispose you to injuries. It's going to, because again, you're not able to relax. I'll guarantee a lot of you out there struggle with flexibility. And flexibility is highly genetic. It really is. But guys, I can tell you that stress level will make it even worse. When you're really tense, your muscles will not stretch. They won't. You'll be just stuck. If people touch you, they'll say you feel hard, you feel flexed. It's just the way you are when you're in fight or flight. It can affect your skin. Stress, elevated stress, cortisol levels can affect things like psoriasis. Let's see if there's a couple more I want to touch on here before I complete the video. So joint and muscle pain. It can obviously, like I said, it can affect your skin. It can affect your skin. It can affect your sleep. Guys, your sleep. Your sleep. It will make it so that you can't sleep. Stress will make it so you can't sleep. And then on top of it, it'll make it so when you are sleeping, you're not really sleeping. So, and then when you don't sleep, then your health can really fall apart. And obviously, guys, your immune system. That's the last one I'll mention. Your immune system really suffers when you're stuck in fight or flight and you're in a perpetual state of elevated stress. This will predispose you to all types of, whether it's colds and flus, or the more serious stuff that can develop long-term. Things that you guys are worried about having maybe all the time if you're anything like I have been over the years. So those are just some things I want to mention. And again, it's not to scare you guys. It's so that you know how important it is not to just let this go, not to just white knuckle it, not to just try to tough it out. Because the end game can be a lot worse from a physical standpoint if we don't get the underlying stress addressed. This is really important, guys. I don't want you guys to get physically sick because you let your anxiety disorder, your obsessive compulsive disorder, your clinical depression just go. That's unacceptable, guys. You want to be here as long as you can. You want to accomplish as much as you can in the finite time that you have. So that's why I made the video. Guys, thanks so much for the engagement. I really appreciate it. Over 600 subscribers now. I love the comments. Keep them coming. I'll respond to them as much as I can. Obviously, the summer's a busy time, so please forgive me if you don't see a reaction but know that I'm reading the comments. It's important to me to create a safe community in my channel where you guys can, bounce experiences and ideas off each other and off of me. I think that will be really beneficial for everyone, because so many times during this anxiety journey, I've talked to somebody and been like, oh, you too. you know, and it helps you realize you're not crazy, and it helps you to realize that, you know, there is such a thing as recovery, and you will get better. So guys, thanks so much for the engagement again. And until my next video, take care.